So what is human development? It sounds simple, but it's not. What is human development? It sounds like a simple concept, and we've got a perfect definition to describe it, but it's often very hard for students to unpack what it really means. In a nutshell, human development is all about somebody having the life that they want to have and be able to do everything that they want to do. That's kind of it in a nutshell. But what things impact whether somebody, is able to do the job that they want to do? Education, health. What's going to impact whether they're able to choose whether they want to have a family or who they're going to marry? Their culture, their religion, where they've grown up. So there's lots of factors that affect somebody's level of human development, and it's really important that you're able to understand all the different elements so that you can show the assessor you really understand what it means. In front of you right now is the definition that we have for human development. If you have a photographic memory, fantastic, but most of us do not. So my tips for you, if that's the case, is there are a few key sentences in here that you need to be able to remember whether you're asked to define human development or whether you're asked to apply it. So let's have a look at those key sentences. The key sentences are in quotation marks here. Ideally, you want to be able to remember a few of these at least. The more you remember, depending on the type of prompt or information you have, the more you have to play with. Now, what I've done here is under each one, I've unpacked what they mean or what they could relate to. Why I'm doing that is because I often see in student responses, students just plug in these sentences. When I ask people, I discuss this person's level of human development, and they often just put these sentences in here, like, this girl can participate in decisions that affect her lives. She has a high level of human development. That's not going to get you full marks. It might get you 1, but you need to unpack what these key sentences mean. So I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll pick out a few. Let's start with the one up the top left, develop to their full potential. So it's not good enough to write, Lucy is experiencing a high level of human development because she can develop to her full potential. You have to unpack what it means. So a better response would be, Lucy is experiencing a high level of human development as she's able to attend school and work towards the career that interests her. This allows her to develop to her full potential because she's able to work towards her goals. See how I've added in a little bit of information there to really show the assessor I know what it means to develop to their full potential. Let's do another example. Let's focus on the one over here, participate in decisions that affect their lives. So what does that mean? I've got here that it's about having the freedom to make choices that are your own. So things about choosing whether to get married, whether to be able to date a guy or a girl, whether to be a guy or a girl, your career path, what you can be and do. There's lots of things that you do every day that's a decision you get to make. A lot of the time, though, people that are living in low-income countries don't have those choices. So if I say, for example, let's say a person named Max is about 25 years old. He's in a family that has always become doctors. He's being married off to a very wealthy family, and a girl that he's never met before, okay? Now, obviously, the situation I've just said, he's in a wealthy family, doctors, and, he's marrying into a wealthy family. All that sounds pretty good, but he doesn't get to participate in who he gets to marry and the career he gets to do. So I might suggest in my response, and also I might comment now also that there's no wrong or right here when you argue whether somebody's human development is high or low. Obviously, you need to be logical. But in that example I just gave you, there is information to suggest he has got elements of high human development. He has got access to resources that may allow him to live a decent standard of living, being able to access knowledge, being able to access health. All those things are really great and it will give you good human development. But we're also focusing on the fact that he doesn't get to choose who he marries. He doesn't get to choose what he wants to do with his life and his career. So I might also say, but there are elements of his life that exhibit low levels of human development, such as the fact that he can't participate in decisions that affect his life. For example, he can't choose who he marries or whether he wants to be a doctor or not. It's important that you're specific to the information you're given in your case study, because it really shows the assessor they know what they're doing. But again, as I said just now, it's important that you give both sides if you feel it's necessary. Otherwise, more common it is to receive information about either really good human development or really bad human development. Not often do you have to weigh up whether it's good or bad. All right, I'm going to jump into a few exam style questions now. I suggest you pause it after each. All right, I'm going to jump into some exam style questions relating to human development. I suggest you pause the video on the question, have a go yourself, and then unpack the answer with me. Question 1, explain what is meant by human development. Pretty common question. It's normally only about 2 marks worth, and it's pretty straightforward to answer. It comes down to that big chunk of text, but all you need to do is include a couple of the key sentences to gain full marks here. So if in my answer I said human development means 2, and then choose 2 of these, that would be enough for 2 marks. Question 2. Maria is a 14-year-old and lives in a small community outside of Johannesburg. She has 2 brothers who are attending school, and she stays home to help her mother collect water. She walks for over 4 hours a day collecting water. She's also likely to be married off to another family soon. Discuss Maria's level of human development. 3 marks. Now, this kind of question could range from 2 to 3 to 4 marks. It basically comes down to how many links are you going to make to those key sentences and to the case study. The other element of this question is you're being asked to comment on Maria's level of human development. So you must state whether you think it's high or whether you think it's low, and then provide evidence of why you think that. So let's unpack this one. I have said here that Maria is experiencing a poor level of human development. The reason being, she spends a large amount of time helping her mother collect water, 4 hours per day, and is therefore unable to attend school with her brothers. This means Maria does not have access to knowledge, and this will limit her opportunities in the future to obtain a job, earn her own income, and lead a productive life. I've made lots of links there to the definition, but I've also used the case study to make sure that this actually makes sense and I know how those two link together. I've gone further and said she's also being married off, suggesting she is unable to participate in the choices affecting her life, such as when and who she marries. So me adding that when and who she marries is a choice, and then I'm using the case study saying that she's being married off. So I've probably given more than necessary for 3 marks, but I like to urge on the side of safe when answering a question. So I suggest that you do the same. If you have the information, if you have the knowledge, then use it. Question 3, so this one came from last year's exam. So you had a case study here. I think it's a particular program, and it's looking at education for girls. The question then asks you, explain how the program promotes human development. So already you're being told, how is this helping or improving the level of human development in these girls? And again, this is 3 marks. This is similar in the one before. This is about your links to the case study, your links to those definition and those key sentences, and also coming back, returning to the question, saying this is promoting human development. So this was a summary of how the state went. The average was about 1.4 out of 3, and 27% of the country, Victoria, actually got 0. So if you're able to break down human development questions, they are actually easier than you think. It's just got a bit of a method to it. So let's have a look at what they said was a high scoring response. This program provides these girls in Kibera with the ability to go to school and therefore increases their access to knowledge, which they can then use to get a job and earn an income, improving their standard of living. And by being the first in their families to attend university, they will have their choices and capabilities expanded, the range of things they can be and do instead of becoming a sex worker. That was a very long sentence. No full stops in there. So they've got a lot going on here, but hopefully you've been able to see a few of those key sentences already. Access to knowledge, They then have improving their standard of living. They then have choices and capabilities in there. The ranges of things they can be and do. So there's lots of things in there that link to the definition, and they've weaved in elements of the case study in there as well. My main comment here is you can never be too safe with making sure that you unpack those key sentences and linking to the case study. I would probably also add to the end of this or the start of it, linking back to the question. So at the very end, I'd say promoting human development, just so that it's really clear you are answering the question they have asked. The next one is a similar style. So if this was on the 2018, it was on the 2019, might possibly be on the 2020. Again, explain how the program promotes human development. So if you have a look here, 40% of Victoria got 0 for this question. So these are questions you can really grab a fair bit from and steal away from those other students. So this one here, they're looking at farmers that are trying to get water for irrigation for their farms and feed their families and so forth. Hopefully you paused it and read through it. I'm going to read the comment they've made here. Where students had an understanding of human development, they could provide an example of how the program could promote it. So see how what they're looking for is it's not good enough just to go, here's a few things from the definition. I have to actually show I understand it by linking the appropriate parts of the case study. So how have they done that here? They've said this program helps Afghan farmers obtain water for irrigation so they can grow veggies and fruit that feeds their families and to sell. When people have access to nutritious food, they're more likely to have better health and well-being. When people are healthy, they're able to work and earn an income, promoting a decent standard of living and have more choices over decisions affecting their life. I'd probably actually argue that elements of this answer could be better. So what do I mean? Where they've said here, when people have access to nutritious food, they are more likely to have better health and well-being. I'd probably add in there and work towards goals in their life, for example, providing for their family. So that's an element of the definition and then me unpacking it. Then I say when people are healthy, they're able to work and earn an income, promoting a decent standard of living and having more choices over decisions affecting their life. I would probably argue there also, when it says promote a decent standard of living, I'd probably say for themselves and for their children, giving them the choice to provide them with shelter, giving them the choice to send them to school. I would just expand on that a little bit further. And then again, I would add to the end of the whole thing, promoting human development.